Welcome to Wisdom of the Bible channel. Recent discoveries by archaeologists and modern engineers about Noah's Ark are overturning long-held ideas about the ancient account. These findings point to building skills and practical knowledge that seem to surpass what we once thought early cultures could achieve. In this study, you will see eye-opening solutions, including ways to handle tons of daily waste, water systems that functioned without pumps, and many other surprises. Noah's Ark stands as one of the most impressive shipbuilding projects ever recorded. Genesis 6:15 sets its size at 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Using common estimates for a cubit, that is roughly 443 feet long, 74 feet wide, and 44 feet tall. The vessel matched the length of a modern football field and rose as high as a four-story house. Though smaller than today's largest cruise liners, which can reach 951 feet, naval experts say the Ark's shape was an ideal balance of length, width, and height, giving it great stability in violent seas. Building such a craft posed extreme challenges. According to the account, Noah was already about 600 years old and guided the work over 120 years, helped only by his 3 sons and their wives. With no cranes, power tools, or heavy machinery, every beam was cut, shaped, and lifted by hand. The effort demanded unusual skill, clever planning, and unwavering resolve. The Ark's frame used gopher wood, a term scholars still debate. Many think it could be cypress, cedar, or a now-lost tree noted for resisting water. Choosing such timber shows a clear grasp of how certain woods endure the harsh, wet life at sea. Another puzzle is the building site, far from any large sea or river. From a sailor's view, this seems odd, yet it highlights how the project rested entirely on trust in God's word, rather than practical convenience. Modern computer models confirm the Ark's 6:1 length-to-width ratio as nearly perfect for keeping a large wooden hull upright in rough waves. Inside, a grid of long and cross beams likely formed strong compartments, adding stiffness and stopping the hull from twisting. To keep water out, workers probably spread a thick layer of bitumen over the planks, just as the text states. This natural sealant, used since ancient times, would have locked the joints and made the hull watertight for the long voyage. One common question is how so many creatures could fit inside. Recent studies give an answer that differs from the picture of millions of animals squeezed aboard. Close reading of the text suggests about 6,800 animals were carried, far fewer than many assume. The Hebrew word min refers to a parent kind, not every modern species. The canine kind, for example, would cover wolves, dogs, foxes, and coyotes. Research points to about 1,000 basic land and air kinds in need of rescue. One pair of each would total about 2,000 individuals, and the number grows to around 6,800 when the extra pairs of clean animals are counted. Insects, fish, and plants were not required on board because they could survive the flood in other ways. The more than 400,000 beetle species known today could descend from just a small set of ancestral beetles carried on the Ark. The story also notes that the animals came to Noah on their own, moving into the ship 2 by 2. Such a mass migration would have spared the family from chasing or trapping each creature. The Ark held 3 decks, each serving a purpose. Heavy, large beasts stayed on the lowest deck where their weight added stability. Mid-sized creatures occupied the middle level, while small animals and birds lived on the upper deck. Stalls were fitted to the needs of their occupants. Herbivores and carnivores were kept apart. Reptiles and amphibians had damp corners, while birds nested in airy spaces near the roof. Most animals taken were likely young or small, easing space and feed demands and lowering waste. Even dinosaurs, often pictured as giants, could have boarded as juveniles little bigger than calves. This careful choice of ancestral kinds shows deep planning. Genetic studies show that wide diversity can arise quickly from a small breeding pool, matching the spread of life after the flood. All this care rested on just 8 people: Noah, his wife, their 3 sons, and daughters-in-law. Their ability to care for nearly 7,000 animals points to both strong organization and, from a faith viewpoint, divine help. These numbers give insight into the wisdom and foresight behind the Ark's plan, and they inspire a deeper respect for the story's detail and coherence. But another pressing question remains. How did a small crew feed and keep thousands of animals healthy for over a year at sea? And how did they handle tons of waste each day? Research suggests the Ark used a simple but effective feeding setup. Large clay jars with small openings were placed in the pens, letting grain or water flow out slowly and evenly. Food had to last more than a year, so Noah likely employed sun-drying, airtight storage, and cool, dry rooms. The stock included grains, hay, dried fruit, and seeds, each chosen to match the diet of different animals. Managing waste was vital. Pens were built with gently sloped floors leading to channels. These channels ran to a central pit on the lowest deck, where gates allowed controlled release of waste into the water. Inside the Ark, light came from oil lamps fueled by olive oil or animal fat. Tending these lamps was part of the daily routine to keep the ship safely lit. Noah's family lived in a separate section, probably on the upper deck, away from the loud sounds and strong smells, giving them a small measure of privacy. Rainwater was gathered through catchments and passed through sand and charcoal filters, an old but effective way to purify water. Wooden or bamboo pipes carried the clean water to troughs. Each day followed a strict plan: check animal health, refill feeders, clean pens, trim lamps, and prepare meals. This cycle repeated without break during the entire flood. Time was tracked by carving marks or writing on parchments. Keeping an exact record of days helped preserve the timeline noted in the biblical account. The crew ate simple preserved fare: grains, dried beans, fruit, and unleavened bread. Though plain, this diet supplied the nutrients they needed. The constant chorus of animals, groaning timbers, crashing waves, and pounding rain produced a wall of sound. Adapting to this noise demanded great mental strength. Running all these systems for more than a year without modern tools marks an outstanding achievement in ancient engineering and resource management. Many see the Ark's success as evidence of guidance beyond human skill, especially when considering the ingenious ventilation, structure, and climate control. The Ark had a roof opening called the Sohar, about 1 cubit high, that let hot air rise and cool air drop, setting up a steady breeze through the decks. Vertical shafts within the walls likely moved this air to every level, using the chimney effect to refresh the atmosphere without any mechanical aid. Although a rectangle may look awkward for a ship, its broad beam and low center of gravity made it very hard to capsize. The 6-to-1 ratio gave the right mix of stability and strength. Inside, a lattice of beams turned the hull into a honeycomb, spreading the strain of each wave and preventing breaks. The bitumen coat not only sealed the wood, but also added flexible strength, helping the planks bend instead of split when struck by heavy seas. Special small rooms held reptiles and amphibians, keeping them moist with nearby water stores and cooler airflow, showing a keen awareness of differing animal needs. The overwhelming noise, motion, and darkness posed a huge mental test. Studies suggest the sound level may have topped 85 decibels, like a busy factory. Noah's family coped by dividing duties, keeping strict schedules, and lining their own cabins with cloth and mats to muffle the din. For the first 40 days and nights, thunder boomed and lightning flashed without pause, while violent currents tossed the ship. During this crisis, the family's faith and discipline were their main support. When the Ark finally grounded on the slopes of Mount Ararat, the animals were released in stages, allowing each group time to find new habitats. The smooth working of airflow, structure, climate, and human care over such a long span points to design far beyond ordinary means. But the flood's outcome was not only survival, it set the stage for sweeping biological change and deep theological lessons. All living animals and humans trace their diversity back to the pairs protected on the Ark, and the 8 people who walked out of it. Some note that Genesis 6:19-20 speaks of 2 of every kind, while Genesis 7:2-3 speaks of 7 pairs of clean animals. Scholars explain that 1 pair was standard, except for the clean kinds meant for later offering and food. Clean and unclean categories, later detailed in Mosaic law, were already known in Noah's day, though then tied mainly to sacrifice, because before the flood people ate only plants. During the voyage, the crew ate stored grain, dried beans, fruit, and vegetables, using preservation methods that kept food wholesome for many months. After the flood, Genesis 9:3 records God saying, "Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you." For the first time, meat became part of the human menu. This shift required people to adapt to digesting animal protein, a process likely slow and difficult at first. The new diet marks a change from Eden's purely plant-based plan and hints at a broader transformation in the bond between people, nature, and God. Modern studies still note that our bodies keep many plant-eater traits: long intestines, molars for grinding, and low stomach acid compared to true carnivores. The rainbow given after the flood became a sign of the covenant, sealing this new stage in human history. Ancient achievements like the Ark's construction, along with other great works, continue to challenge today's engineers and remind us that true wisdom often reaches far beyond what we expect. May these insights deepen our appreciation of the narrative and its enduring message.
Hello, dear viewers. Thank you for watching our channel, Wisdom of the Bible. I personally invite you to subscribe to our channel. It supports us and helps us create more videos. Thank you, and God bless you.